Back to my channel. I've been doing quite a few videos lately, haven't I, after a period of not doing hardly any. I'm just talking to camera again, just kind of talking about just what's been going on in my life generally, and just sort of updates and stuff. Yes, one of the days when I'm feeling quite tired and groggy, I think because it took me a while to get to sleep last night and I kept on having little anxiety attacks, as I sometimes do when I go to bed. I think because my brain, when you're in bed, sometimes I get anxiety attacks, and yeah, where you feel like you're on the verge of a potential panic attack, and it's horrible. Like, I didn't have a panic attack, but I kept on feeling like I was on the verge of having one, and that consequently is quite tiring. So I think that's part of the reason why I feel quite tired today. And it's a rainy. It's funny, it was really cold, and now it's gone like complete opposite. Like, now it's really mild, but it's like very overcast with kind of like drizzly rain. And I just went out in the garden a moment ago and did my half an hour walking around in circles that I time. I try and do at least an hour, but it being rainy today, I just only managed half an hour. And I noticed at my pond that I had installed last year, just a basic plastic pond, nothing amazing. I actually had two put in. I mean, they're quite a good size actually, about the size of a baby bath. I ended up having two put in next side by side. The first one is completely full. It was completely frozen over when it was cold last week, but now the water's all defrosted, so it's now just water and it's right up to the top. The one next to it is also about a quarter of the way full, so it must be raining quite a lot actually, maybe overnight as well. I place them side by side with a gap down the middle, so the aim is that eventually the gap will fill up with grass, so that you won't really notice the gap in the middle, so it looked like it's just one big pond with a little bit of grass in the middle. That's the aim anyway. I didn't place them right next to each other because then it would be obvious because you'd have the plastic, so I thought if I placed it apart a little bit, then the bit in the middle, which is currently just earth, it's just a slim separating the two ponds, thin bit of earth, we're going to eventually have grass growing up, so it'll just look natural. Because at the moment it's obvious that they're plastic, because you can see the plastic rim at the top, but when the grass all grows, again, it won't be noticed anymore. I'm really hoping I'll get tadpoles or something. That'd be amazing, but we'll see. Anyway, the other thing that's stressful is I've got a wax problem in my right ear. It periodically happens, usually around the winter. I have got some, my dad got me from Boots, you know, like that medical grade olive oil that you like squirt in, and it has been helping. I probably need to have my ears syringed actually, to be honest, but I can't leave the house because I'm housebound and mostly, so that's not going to happen. So I just have to use olive oil. It's been a problem. I've had this problem for like a very, very long time, like over several decades probably. It's like a periodic thing. It often tends to get wax in my ear around winter, and I think it's because the ear kind of like dries out, so like all the wax gets dried up, and then it's like means my ear is kind of like basically blocked basically. So it's kind of annoying. But the medical grade olive oil from Boots has been helping, so I just use that, and it is starting to loosen up, and hopefully, yeah, it'll stop being so annoying soon. Anyway, but yeah, it's tiring. It's not as bad as it was. Over New Year it got really bad and it was really uncomfortable, but the medical grade olive oil has obviously been helping because it's not as bad now. So I'm just hoping it, I probably do need my ear syringed because I've had this problem for such a long time. Once when I went to Boots, because I was trying to get, this is ages ago before I was housebound, I went to Boots to try and get some specialist earplugs for my noise sensitivity, but the man said, because he looked inside my ear and he said, you've got lots of wax in your ear, he said you should go and get it syringed. I never did. I probably should have done because I hate going to the doctors, and now I'm housebound, that's not even an option. So anyway, just one of those things. And it probably doesn't help matters. I often put my hands over here because my oil sensitivity, which obviously probably pushes the wax down further. So yeah, it's one of those annoying things. But anyway, so that's another thing. So what else has been going on? Nothing much really, because I'm housebound. I guess the things that give me meaning in my life and that make me get up in the morning, rather late at the moment, are obviously my interests. So I'm still learning Welsh. I've been learning Welsh now for a year, and I feel like I'm actually making quite a lot of headway actually. It's not the easiest language to learn with all those mutations, and I have complex grammar and syntax, which is quite different to English, but I actually feel I'm making quite a lot of headway and I'm picking it up, so that's cool. I feel quite pleased about that. I mean, obviously I'm by no means fluent yet, but I feel like I understand quite a lot of the language. Yeah, and it's starting to make more sense, it's starting to cohere in my mind. So I'm using BBC Catchphrase, which is a very old Welsh sort of language course that was, I think, originally on the radio, but is now all online. It's very old, it must be from the 1990s, because they reference like John Major, who was Prime Minister of the UK back in the 90s, wasn't he, before Tony Blair. So yeah, it must be very old. Yeah, and obviously it must have been originally on radio, but it's all online now. But that doesn't matter. The fact it's old, it's still very useful, and it's also got online notes for each of the radio. It's good for listening because it's presented by Welsh people. One of the people who presents it really does sound like my late grandmother, who had this very sort of well-to-do accent. She was German, my late grandmother, Jewish German. She escaped the Holocaust. My dad's mum came to UK when she was 16. But but the way she learned English, I think she picked up this very kind of well-to-do accent, so it was almost like sort of Queen's English. So she almost sounded like a socialite from the sort of 19th century, a very well-to-do woman. It sounded very, very posh. I mean, she was quite well-to-do anyway, like she came from quite a well-to-do family, but her accent was just the way she learnt English made her sound like really, really posh. It's quite funny. But the woman who's presenting BBC Catchphrase is a Welsh woman. So obviously there's a slight Welsh accent. It's not like a really obvious Welsh accent though, but her accent is quite posh and well-to-do, and it really reminds me of my grandmother. So every time I hear her, I keep on thinking of my grandmother. It's just a sort of similar kind of posh accent. It's funny. Whereas the male presenter, because there's a female presenter and a male presenter, I actually prefer the female presenter because I find her easier to follow. But the male presenter has a more obviously Welsh accent. It's like more kind of rough and ready, I suppose. I think because a woman's accent's quite posh, it kind of like you don't hear the Welsh twang quite so much. You can hear she's got Welsh accent, but because she sounds quite posh, so it's not quite so obvious. But yeah, it's a good programme. As I say, each of the episodes comes with notes, and which is very helpful, PDF notes. Each episode isn't very long, and it's in 2 parts. Rhan 1, I can't roll my R's, so excuse that, it's R-H-A-N, it just means part in Welsh. Rhan, I can't pronounce R's, so a Welsh person would be like, she's not pronouncing her R's right, but I can't do my R's, I can't roll my R's, so Rhan 1 and Rhan 2, basically. It's in 2 parts, and it's not each episode isn't too long, so that's good, because otherwise I'd lose concentration. And I listened to them all last year, but now I'm going back for revision, so I'm listening to each episode now in turn and really trying to listen to it carefully. It's good listening practice, and then going over my notes and practicing it. So it's just going back to the basics really, like, where do you live, and things like that. Where chi'n byw, that sort of thing. Where chi'n siopa, that sort of thing. Where chi'n gweithio, that sort of thing. Where do you work? Going right back to the basics sort of thing. Dwi'n byw yn, I live in, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just going back to the basics, but it's all really helpful, and I feel like it is starting to sink in. Like, as I said, I'm still really at entry level Welsh, but it really is starting to sink in, and I feel I am making headway. Bearing in mind, I've only been learning for a year, and I'm doing it all on my own. So yeah, so I'm still doing Welsh, and the other things I'm doing is I'm doing my crafting. Now I have so many things I want to craft. I'm getting back into knitting, because I've been knitting for quite some time anyway now. Well, I started, I can't remember when I started now, it might have been 2022, can't remember. Anyway, and then I got really into it. But I've recently discovered loom knitting, which is knitting with a round peg loom, as opposed to knitting needles. It's kind of a little bit similar to French knitting, like knitting with a knitting doll, similar sort of thing, where you sort of wrap hooks, E-wrap, and then, put the loop over the top sort of thing. You can also purl as well, which is a different technique, where you bring your yarn to the front, sort of put the needle under sort of thing. Yeah. But I've been following a tutorial, some very helpful YouTube tutorials, and I've got so many things now I want to make. I've got a poncho I want to make, I've got a hat I want to make, I've got a baby's hood I want to make, which I might put on one of my dolls. I want to make a bigger hood at some point. I've got an octopus I want to make, loads and loads of stuff, and the question is, what do I do first? But I did recently get some more yarn from Hobbycraft online, because I want to knit with needles a fox scarf, because I've got a fox scarf I want to do. And also it would be helpful because it will go over some knitting techniques I haven't done for a while, such as make one, slip, knit, those sort of things I haven't done for ages. So I sort of feel I'm a bit rusty on those things, and I need to it will come back, it's all there, it's just I haven't done them for ages, so I sort of forget, because I haven't done it for a while, so that'd be good sort of practice. So yeah, loads of and I also really want to make a comic at some point, just for fun, because I got this Hinkler, which is a crafts company. I got a Hinkler make your own comic kind of craft set sort of thing. It just comes with marker pens and an instruction booklet on how to write a comic, and I just got it because I thought it looked fun. So I want to do that, and I've also been making accordion books. And it's just crafting, and I also really want to do some deco patch at some point, which is where I use special papers and glue them onto things as well. Because I have a caravan, a toy caravan, and I want to deco patch it to make it look nicer. It's actually a Sylvanian family caravan I got ages ago, but I really want to deco patch it and make it look nicer. So these are all the things I really want to do, and it's like, where do you start? So I've got so many things I want to do and just not enough time. Okay, I'm going to move over to video number 2 now, because I'm just talking about general stuff that I'm doing at the moment and things that I'm interested in and that. So moving over to video number 2.